in Los Angeles in the 1980s. Like many large cities, it has a lot of dry cleaners. Now, LA being LA, dry cleaning is used more. Now, people there feel that the first inch of a person is the most important inch. And once you've gone beyond the surface, it's unnecessary depth. By the way, I feel fair, I can pick on LA. I was there for 17 years. And the state of the dry cleaning industry, such as it was essentially, because it's such a low-cost business to get into, it was what I would call an emigres or an immigrants industry. People who are new to the US could buy or start a dry cleaning business for a relatively small amount of money, usually raised informally from community capital, which is just a nice way of saying friends put money together. You know, it's like the Amish tilt up a barn approach to money. And they would start a business. And so at the time, there were tens of thousands of dry cleaning businesses. And no room for innovation, you might have thought. And if I ask you, I'll ask somebody here now, what is the primary benefit of dry cleaning? Anybody care to tell me? Just yell loudly if you have it. You don't have to do it yourself, to clean your clothes. Right. So somebody made the observation that it's not true. This fellow looked around, in LA in particular, and said, no, that's not the value. It's not that you don't have to do it for yourself. It's not that it cleans your clothes. His observation was that the benefit of dry cleaning was that somehow you saved time, and therefore the only thing you should do is save time. So he started a dry cleaning business where he looked at the amount of time it took. Now this is LA. No, if you ever heard the Randy Newman song, nobody walks in LA. So he came up with the first ever drive-through dry cleaning business. Now you think to yourself, besides the sheer carbon cost of what that might be, it's a magnificent question in sort of an awful way. And he opened one. And within 5 years, he had a chain of dry cleaning businesses, a multi-million-dollar business. But the reason I tell the story is nothing to social enterprise. I promise you, the social good he does is, well, I guess everyone looks a little cleaner. But he had it was as bog standard a business as a person can have. It was as typical a lifestyle business has ever been created. There was no potential for scalability in it. Everybody knew that the market, the industry itself had all the wrong indicators. You take my 20 questions, you apply it, you'd walk away from it and say, I can barely struggle to survive. What difference does it make? And he found a way to be distinct. He realized that what people cared about in LA was keeping on driving. And so they could just drive on through, and he had to change the business. He had to create new systems and new operations. Anything, every business has a differentiator. And so I go back to the number one question I ask when somebody stands in front of me. Have you made something people need or want? And can you prove it? Can you prove to me you've made something people need or want? Second question, is that enough? Is it enough to solve the problem? I would assert no, and we're going to spend a few minutes on what I think you have to do with a product or a service, especially in 2010, when social media is changing the very nature of how we communicate to audiences and create communities. And finally, how do you know if you've achieved it? Answer these three questions about a business, and you are more likely to succeed than any other three questions that are well answered.